Welcome to my Bajerski YouTube channel. Today we're going to talk about force. Pushing, forcing. There is a difference between pushing and forcing and that which we move towards in a way of trust, flow. And I'd like to talk to you about that today in a way of sharing a story that's been a profound story in my life when I first heard it. And I think it's really important we hear this story. The fan was on. So, think about this as your story. I am now offering you a story about understanding and making sense of why it's a good idea to stop before we push, before we force, before we knee-jerk and insist and want and demand, which many of us have been programmed as children to do. Win that race, be the best, get the top grades, get the best man, get the best woman, get the best house, get the fanciest this and that. So are you ready? There was once a lady who was waiting at a bus stop for a bus to take her to the centre of Delhi. She was in the outskirts of India, and of course it would take a few hours to get there. So she waited in line and the bus came. Everybody got onto the bus and it was her turn to get onto the bus. The bus inspector, the driver, said, "I'm sorry, I can't let you on." Looking confused and looking at the bus, which was half empty and still plenty of seats, she says, "Why not?" And he says, "Because that's as many as we allow in. No more can come in." She looked again and she said, "But there's plenty of seats." "No," he insisted, "you're not coming on." Well, the woman was perplexed, of course, and confused and possibly not very happy about the situation because she knew she had to wait for the next bus. But she did. She got off and she waited till the next bus came, and of course it came shortly after. She got onto the bus, no problem at all, sat down. The bus then proceeded with no problems straight to Delhi. The bus stopped in Delhi and she gets out of the bus, and as she steps off she sees a commotion slightly ahead of her. So she walks towards that commotion. There are people screaming and crying. As she gets closer, she can see police and ambulances. As she gets even more closer, she realizes that what she was looking at was the bus that she was meant to get on. She asked what had happened to a stand-by, and they said somebody got onto the bus and killed all the white people. This is a true story. Now I want you to just think about this. How many of us would have pushed to get on that bus? Be honest. How many of us would have screamed and shouted and got angry and insisted to get on that bus? How many of us, or let's say you, what would you have done? Be honest. Would you have waited another hour for the bus? The seats are empty. I need to get on this bus. Would you have? Are you honest enough to say you would have fought with the driver and you would have insisted on getting on that bus? Think about it. When I heard that story, it not only sent a shiver down my spine, it made me re-look at life and my inadequacies, my shortcomings, my tests and challenges that I have to face those that are the knee-jerk reactions, those that are the ego within me, the pride. We've been bullied at school. We've been told by our friends, our family, we're not good enough and no, you can't have it. And because we've been deprived, because we haven't got what we want, as children, we grew up with this frustration. So now we're older, we will fight for what we want. But maybe that's the problem. Maybe we've lost something in our way because we were never taught. Maybe that we always took offense when people said you're not having it. And we got angry because we were never really truly explained. Nobody ever actually explained to us why. Around us there's anger all the time as we're growing up. Frustration. No, you can't have it. Why not? Just because you can't. Because I said so. Look at me. I leave coffee in my tea all the time. I've got a cold one over here. Look, it's nearly full. It's cold. I've got one over there. Let me show you. Oh, it's nearly full. And I've spilt it. But I wanted to prove a point. What is that point? And let me tell you something else. When I have a bath, I don't have a bath halfway up. It has to come to nearly the top. Ridiculous. Why is that, Mark? Because my dad wouldn't let me have a bath with only allows me this much water. And he used to hit me if I had any more than that. He would have physically abused me, scream at me. Why, Dad? Drink all your drink. So now that he's no longer here, I can fill my bath up, and I do. And I fill the coffee up and I don't drink it all, purposely. Whose fault is that? So what I'm trying to say is it's not your fault that you would want to push onto that bus, that you want to fight to get on that bus because it's your right. And why is everybody else obliged to get on the bus but not me? What are you doing? You're trying to tell me again that I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough. And these are the things we have to fight. But not in the way that we hate. We have to become stronger. So like the muscle inside your mind, and like the thoughts that you hold on to of the pain and the abuse, you have to train something inside that overcomes. How do you do that? Well, I believe this story is a story that helps you grow that muscle and become stronger. It's the muscle of wisdom. It's the muscle that says, hey, slow down. And that muscle is connected to the spirit. The pineal gland is all seeing. It's the intuition. It's that gut feeling and that knowing. I'm not talking about your brain that fights and shouts and screams, because the brain is a tool that goes into the toolbox and looks for the tools that it's always used. But where I'm talking about is going to a place where you're not used to. A place inside your heart that is you, the real you, the truth, the spiritual you that never dies. You see, when we react and get angry, it's because of our mind and past memories. So when I share this story about the lady who didn't get on the bus, I always remember these words. Your rejections at times are spiritual spirits. Our rejections are spirit's protections. Say it again, Mark. Our or my rejections are spirit's protections. Say it again. Our rejections are spirit's protections. Say it again, Mark. Keep saying it. Why you keep saying it? Because all my life I've had the same words repeated. You're stupid. You're not good enough. You're an idiot. You'll never get anywhere in life. So I keep repeating the words that sit with me and help me awaken to truth. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional, Mark. My rejections could be Spirit's protections. There are many times that I could have ended up in deep trouble, but I followed those very truths. The gut instinct, the feeling, and I followed it. I could give you hundreds of stories about how people would say, how did you know that? In the sense of my path and what I could have ended up in a deep problem and situation, but I just knew. And I followed that. I followed that guidance. Most people reject it because they don't feel it's of any value. So then they turn to the brain. That brain is the one that always keeps telling you you're not good enough. Oh, stop being stupid. You're an idiot. Just be better. Be better. Well, when does better stop, Mr. Brain? I've got here now, I'm better, but you need to be better. But so when does it stop? It doesn't. So I turn all of what I've learned in these years into wisdom that is an internal compass. And it always points me in the direction of flow. Sorry, we don't need you. No problem. See you later. Sorry, you're not good enough for this interview. Not who we're looking for. No problem. Sorry, mate, you can't come in. No problem. No, you're not in our team or club. We don't like you. No problem. See you later. I don't like you. No problem. See you later. Why are people like that with you, Mark? Do you want to know? Yeah, they're bloody horrible to you, aren't they? Well, it depends how you look at it. What do you mean? I'd be really gutted. Yeah, but if you see it in another way, you might realise that you're blessed. Now, do you really want to go in there with them people telling you you can't come in? I don't suppose I do, no. Well then, isn't that a blessing? Do you want to work with that person who's just told you that they don't want to work with you? Probably not nice. Exactly. You see, everything that we perceive as a rejection is actually your family in spirit saying, hey, don't go down that path. We've got another one for you. And because your brain went there and insisted and pushed, we're just trying to help you here. So we're trying to reveal their true colours before you even enter into that conflict. So everything that happens, I smile now and say thank you to the face of rejection, to the anger of jealousy, bitterness, sadness, emptiness, loneliness in those that try to use me as a punch bag. But they never can hit me because I'm invisible. You punch straight through me now because it doesn't hurt, because I know exactly what's wrong with you and I know exactly why you are that way. Because the spirit world has opened you to your true colours, and I am thankful for them, because I would not want to be there. I would not want to work with you there, and I don't want to be in that energy, and I'd rather know instantly. So any rejection is a beautiful wink in the eye towards me from the spirit world, who influence people to be their true colours in front of me. Now that, my dear friends, is one of the powerful, is probably my most powerful secret I hold to happiness and joy. And let me tell you, my path thus far, after learning those valuable lessons that we should have learned as children, that they would never tell you, has actually led me on the most magical, divine journey in this lifetime that I could ever wish for. This, my dear friends, is a video food for thought. Sit down, meditate on it, and tell me what you think. Have a most beautiful day. Take care.